Hey folks, Labor here once again. Hope y'all like my elf shirt. So I haven't done a video in a while, guys. I've just been, busy with work. But I hope y'all enjoyed my TV show collection of Supergirl Part 21. And continuing my Superman marathon, like I said, we're on Supergirl now. The 2015 Arrowverse show, the third Arrowverse show that I'm on. Yeah, because I figured just do this because it is Supergirl, to me, is at least part of the Superman franchise, and that's why I wanted to review for the Superman marathon for this TV show, Phase 3 of the TV show collection, of the TV shows. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I call it, Phase 3. But anyway, sorry about the glare of the video, it's nighttime. But anyway, we're starting off with the first season of Supergirl, and this video is called My Thoughts on Favorite Episodes of Supergirl Season 1. I was about to say Smallville, sorry. Yeah, of Supergirl Season 1, which we ran from, I think this season went from 2015 to 2016. So, and give my quick thoughts on this season. I loved it, yes. I really enjoyed Supergirl Season 1. It wasn't perfect, there were some issues, but overall, really great show, and I will say, it was definitely better than the 1984 movie. But I will say, as the show goes on from here, I will say it does become more of a letdown for me, personally, but that's just my opinion, but I'll get more into that in Season 2 when I talk about that. That's why I want to talk about Season 5 and 6, because I hate those. But, Melissa Botness is Supergirl. She's great. She's what makes this show great, in my opinion. She's the main reason you want to watch it. But one other thing, too, the first season is just really good. I like the cast, especially the one who plays Cat Grant. She was funny. And good characters in the show in this first season of Supergirl. Yeah. Really good way to start, very good story as well. So, just to go ahead and give you a quick story about, Carla Zarrell, who was, give you a quick synopsis that you get to do. If you watch the first season on Netflix, it gives you a whole synopsis of the show and all the episodes that you watched in the season and the other seasons as well. That Carla Zarrell, of course, was her mission. She was taken off Krypton, on a spaceship like her cousin, to protect Kal-El, but her pod got knocked off course, so for 13 years, or 22 I think, she was trapped in the Phantom Zone until it got to Earth, but it was too late, so her cousin grew up to be Superman. So Superman sent her to a family, and, I'll get more into that, but that's eventually her story. So Superman is mentioned in this, but this is mainly about Supergirl. So anyway, go ahead and get to that. Okay. Okay. Pretty much what the first season is about is Carla is forced to reveal her, like I gave you this whole story before, as I mentioned. Pretty much what this season is about is Carla is forced to reveal her powers and becomes National City's protector, Supergirl. In the process, she discovers that hundreds of the criminals her mother imprisoned are hiding on Earth, including her Aunt Astra and Astra's husband, Non, who pretty much have this plan to pretty much take over the Earth, pretty much take over the world, which I will get more into that, and Carla, of course, has to stop them. Carla works with her adopted sister, Alex Danvers, to fight these criminals, alongside the Green Martian Manhunter, Jalen Jones, her cousin's friend, James Olsen, and tech genius when shot. Yeah. And, of course, being Carla Danvers working the assistant for Cat Grant. And a guy named Maxwell Lord, who, kind of like Lex Luthor, you could say has a personal hatred for Supergirl. Bit of a villain here too. But this is her story about her becoming a hero. This is what this season is basically about. So, and then her having to save the world at the end of the season. But overall, let's get into the favorite episodes. Sorry. I gotta use the neighbors sometimes. They're really loud, especially at nighttime. It's the weekend, so. But anyway, guys, favorite episodes. Let's get to that. So, I got a couple of ones here. So, pilot. Yeah. And, she was trapped in the Phantom Zone for 24 years. You see Cora on Krypton when it's blowing up, and her mother sending her, saying, I always love you, Cora, and sending Cora she gets trapped in the Phantom Zone, and she lives with the Danvers, Jeremiah and Elisa Danvers, and their daughter, Alex Danvers. Pretty much you have Cora working at Catco, trying to make a difference in the world, so she decides to, 12 years later, hide her powers, not let anybody know. I like it when you first see Wynn. Wynn's a pretty funny character. Just, even Cora, their talk's gonna be funny sometimes, but Cora using her superhero can hear Cat Grant coming, and Cat Grant, I will say by the way, she does come off as a bitch, but at the end of the day, she does become likable, and she's funny. She just cracks me up. I miss this character on the show, because I know she'll get later seasons, but yeah, Cat Grant is like, Cora, she says, Kira, chop chop, go give me my coffee. She's able to use her power, her kind of abilities to be an assistant. She wants to be a reporter, a journalist, so in order to do this, she has to start from scratch, start small about being an assistant to Cat Grant, even though Cat is pretty much mean to her, but she's able to kind of just put up with her. Cora meets Jimmy Olsen, who she likes right away, and of course Jimmy Olsen is friends with Superman, he's known as Superman's pal. Alex claims to be a scientist or whatever, and, pretty much Cora's gonna go on this date, but this guy Cora, is super hearing, and she hears this guy saying that he's trying to ask another girl, and she's like, then she watches TV, apparently, Alex is going somewhere for her job, so this plane that she owns, this plane is getting ready to crash, and so Cora's like, just sees this plane crashing and wants to go save her sister, so she just finds she hasn't flown in years, so you see her jump in. Eventually she does fly, and, it's just basically her saving a plane, which I thought was cool. She's trying to hold on to the wind, she's trying to hold on to the back of it, and I thought it was funny though when the plane's about to crash into the bridge, and she's like, oh, come on, but she's able to get into the bank, and the world sees her face, but Carla is awesome. She's basically made by that. She's happy. This is kind of a reference you can say to Superman the movie. When you first saw Superman, grab the helicopter and save Lois Lane, or Superman Returns when Superman, first came back of saving an airplane. So I think these were basically references or callbacks to those two movies for this episode. But that was good, and Carla's telling Alex, oh, I was so excited, I did this, it was great. But I was like, what are you thinking? Carla, what are you thinking? Everybody's seen your face. Even at work, Cat Grant wants to see this mysterious girl, maybe use her as a headline, saying she has powers Superman. So Carla, tells Wynn about her powers. Wynn doesn't believe her at first. She's like, Wynn, I asked him to tell you. And then Wynn says, like, what? You're a lesbian? She's like, no, I was that girl. And then he was like, Carla, what are you doing? And she goes over the edge, and she flies. She's like, you're that girl? And you see that he's been Cora's best friend for a good while, but Wynn's always someone had a crush on Cora, and he helps Cora make a suit, which I admit, when he mentions his first suit, she looks gorgeous in it, but eventually she gets her Supergirl suit, and she starts saving people, stopping robberies and taking out bad guys, and she's bulletproof, and you get the song, and stopping a car chase, seeing her fly and stuff was cool. You got a song called, she's a bad man, Majama, just as fine as she can, really good, and she continues, of course, saving people until she gets shot by kryptonite darts. And, of course, she gets caught by the DEO under the leadership of Hank Henshaw, investigating the activity. They think that she might be a threat. They keep her under, kind of like Red Sun, which is like one planet of Krypton, which, weakens her powers. And, you find out that Alex is not a scientist, but she's a DEO agent. And what the DEO does, which is the Department of Extramural Operations, basically what they do is protect enemy threats from the world, but they keep it in secret. So they're kind of like the Men in Black, but they don't wipe people out. They pretend to be like FBI sometimes. But anyway, Cora's like, why didn't you tell me this, Alex? It's like, I'm sorry, we had to keep it a secret. And Joe's like, way to go, you screwed up. And Cora and him at first don't really have a good relationship. They just get up to a rocky start. And when she does go out to this activity, one of the aliens she attracts attention called Veritox, who talks to one of the Kryptonians, and apparently Aurora, Carla's mother, who would send people to prisoners, some of them have landed here where would escape the Phantom Zone, so they basically want to kill Cora. One of them, was of course talking to Jimmy Olsen. He's able to use his, able to talk to Cora at first, and Cora's like, she uses his leg to hide, and he's got like this hammer, and him and Cora fight, and Cora nearly gets killed, so that Dio has to come and save her. But eventually, she's able to fight the guy at the end. Cora's having it's like nighttime, it's a nighttime scene. It's like a truck, she just smashes his truck and they start fighting, and before he can take Cora out, Cora's able to use the heat vision to overpower his hammer so he can't fight her back. Cora knocks him out. He was like, come back from that, or she says something like, and cool line, and has that cool stance. And his virtuous degrees is revealed to be Aurora's identical twin sister, Cora's aunt, named Astra, who plans to conquer Earth, kind of like she conquered like her and Non were trying to conquer Krypton, but were sent to the Phantom Zone by Aurora, by her own sister. And then Cora finally, accepts her fate. She's proud to come out, and she's like, "Now I have a new job, protecting Earth as Supergirl." And the other, like, smiling at the end of the episode. Good pilot. Another favorite of mine is an episode called "Stronger Together." Cora, who was, of course, continuing being Supergirl, she tries to stop a fire at first, tries to save people, and she's like, "Chief, what can I do?" He's like, "Well, go save people." She does. She's able to save the boat. The ship. But apparently an oil rig spill happens in the ocean, and then you have businessman like myself, Lord, who doesn't like Supergirl. Maybe sees her as a threat, thinks that she's not here to help things, that she would be dangerous. But Cora is trying to save the ship and the people from her. She does save some of the people. She's able to use her breath to stop a fire, but in her mistake, she accidentally causes, havoc when she releases an oil spill, which can kill all the little sea creatures, kill all the little fishes and stuff. Cat Grant wants to do an interview with Supergirl, so she presses James Wilson to. She tells him, "Well, Jimmy, either you can come back or you can go back to Planet White. You can go back to the planet." Here at Catco, though, James does reveal, I think in the pilot episode, he's already been called that he knows that she's Supergirl, who she is, that he knows Clark Kent is Superman, and that Clark sent him there to watch her. So for the day plan, Jimmy just watches over Clark, keeps an eye on her, and instead of taking pictures like there's this Jimmy Olsen, he's doing print layouts and stuff for the planet and help printing the stories and stuff for Catco. And Cora doesn't want him to get fired, but she's like, "I don't want to do the interview, I'm just too scared. I don't know if I can really trust Miss Grant." And of course Cora continues her training at the DEO with Alex. Alex Cora's like, "I don't need training, Alex. I can bend steel with metal, I can do this, I can fly, I'm invincible." So she tells her she fills up with this kryptonite, and then she fills up with the kryptonite, not enough to kill her, but just to take her powers away and make her human. And she's teaching Cora how to fight. Cora does get kicked by Alex because face Alex is bad. But she wants to teach Cora just in case if her powers ever go out that she needs to learn how to fight and take care of herself, which I thought was cool. Cora does have a flashback of Krypton, of a hologram that it's a hologram of her mother, where she can ask questions about Krypton and stuff. It's like, well, what would you like to know about Cora? It's like, well, I'm sorry, my program doesn't do it because she's not talking about mother, she's basically talking to a hologram of her mother. But this hologram, they try to go after who, might be trying to come after Cora. And this is where Supergirl meets her and Astra. And Astra tells her who she is. She punches Cora out first, but Cora does have memories, unlike Kal-El. She does have memories of Krypton because she was still a little girl there, if you remember, maybe 13 years old, I think, or 12 at the time. But her and Astra have a bit of a fight, which is a pretty good fight, as Carla's using her super strength, but again, Astra is a warrior, she's a general basically, so kind of hard for Carla to take her on in a fight. Hank arrives to save Cora, uses the kryptonite knife to take her out, and they try to find out from people what does the kryptonite knife do, telling Astra that it's basically Kryptonian. They learn about kryptonite. But like I said, I think she's the hologram of her mother, where she can talk to her. And Kat, who was setting the fire, James Olsen, eventually, she calls, she's like, Mr. Olsen, I better be having my interview with Supergirl soon, or else she'll lose your job. And it's like, oh, you'll be having it right now. And she's in a car, but Supergirl picks up the car using her super strength, flies to a certain area, and just, looking at Kat Grant, flying ready to talk. Alright, but that was strung together. Now, another favorite of mine is called Fight or Flight. Kat does an interview with Supergirl, asking where she's from, what are you doing here. She tells you she's from the planet Krypton, and just lets her know that she's here to fight for just American way and to help people. And until by accident, Supergirl suddenly reveals that she's Superman's cousin. And when Kat hears this, she puts it in the media, which puts Cora in danger because you have a guy named Reactron, who is a disfigured man. He's got a nuclear power armor suit, and he tried to kill Superman. So with Superman and he in National City, he figured the best way to get revenge on Superman. He found out he's Superman, so he wants to kill people who Superman loves. And of course, Supergirl, he's just torn up. Reactron, he's got messed up burned face, and he's got this armor suit which he can shoot beams out of. First, he fights Supergirl a little bit. He starts attacking people, and he comes close to killing Cora too. Superman himself, just shows up to save her. And instead, when he gets his Eventually, though, before Superman can, save her because he's about to kill Cora, but before that, the first time, Cora, is able to kind of take out his armor suit, but Rashomon doesn't get away. He kidnaps, he kidnaps Maxwell Lord, asking him to fix up his suit. And he's like, "Oh, Supergirl, you're here to save me." And after she's saved, she's like, "I can't have Superman save me all the time. It just makes me look weak." Well, sometimes even Superman needs help. As Jimmy would tell her. Well, first Cora is mad at James, though, because he has this watch, which, for being Superman's pal, he has a watch, presses it, and is able to call Superman for help. At first she's mad at him, but then Cora realizes that he was just trying to help. And they do end up mad at each other for a while. Catco throws this party, and you should have this flirtation between Maxwell Lord and Cat Grant, where they're dancing a little bit. Until there's maybe a likeness, the two maybe like each other. Rashomon shows up because he still wants to kill Supergirl, but Supergirl shows up and is able to fight him off and eventually beats Reactron. And Carl receives an apology text from Clark. He's texting her at work saying, "Hey, you were able to take him down before I could." And it was just a good moment. So yeah. But overall, really good episode. Where Carla just had to learn how to use her. In these episodes, you kind of learn something in the pilot episode. It was about her learning to become who she is, accept her powers, and strung together, to work as a team and use her powers for good. Basically stronger together, like a family. And this episode, Fireflight, I felt like it was mainly about, Carla learning that sometimes you need help in situations, but sometimes you gotta learn how to fight on your own. You can't have someone that save you every time. And another favorite episode of mine is called How Does She Do It? Supergirl pretty much in the beginning is flying around the city. Beautifully shot by the way. Yeah, it's CGI, but you have this drone following her, and it's trying to do like a tag on her. And she suspects Hank is doing it, but Hank tells her like, "No, Supergirl, believe me, if I was following you, you wouldn't know it." Kat receives an award to go to Metropolis for an event that she's accepting an award. So she runs just babysit her son Carter. Supergirl first. I think she's like playing some villains or whatever, but she forgets to almost take care of Carter. She picks him up and tells Carter who she is. And you find out this kid has a crush on Supergirl. And Carter's like, oh, that's sweet, But she can't really tell the kid that she is Supergirl. And you find out Maxwell Lord who created the drone, and also he got something against Supergirl. They're trying to question him about the drone, and even though Hank is like, you watch him, because Maxwell Lord somewhat doesn't trust Supergirl, thinks that she just can't be trusted, and he doesn't trust the government either. And when Alex finds out why, it's because of his parents, the government covered up, so he doesn't trust the government. Pretty much like you say, Max doesn't trust anybody. And one of his employees, I guess you could say, is wanting Venom revenge. Maxwell is building this new train set, this train that is a train that can transport you to anywhere or take you anywhere until someone sets bombs on it, and the cat's son goes there. So Cora asks Supergirl has to save the plane. She's able to talk to the guy. I was like, you don't want to do this. I know your wife and son died, but you gotta let this go. And the guy says, okay, you guys gotta do Supergirl. And Supergirl, the guy doesn't want to be saved. The guy commits suicide, which, you feel sorry for the guy. Oh, I mentioned Lucy Lane also comes in town. Just because her and Jimmy had like a relationship. Next episode, they're trying to work the relationship out. Eventually, before anything bad happens, all these bombs happen. You do see that Hank has these red eyes, which I'll get to that later. Basically telling you that he's an alien. There's a lot of bombs around these trains, and Carla's able to stop the bombs because the guy deactivates them. Because Hank, using his abilities, is able to get rid of it. He lies to Alex, of course, about it. Carla does catch James and Lucy kissing. She wants to talk to Jimmy, how she feels, but when she sees that relationship now, she's like, you can say she's jealous because she's in love with, pretty much when she first met James Olsen, she was in love with him, but he chose to be with Lucy, so. When Carla goes to the end, at the end of the episode, Carla goes to Mexico, saying that she doesn't trust him, that she knows that was him that sent the drones and the bombings, and that the man Ethan that was trying to bomb people was because of him, was him setting it up. So, she let him know right away, I'll be watching you, Max. When you mess up, I'll be getting you. I'll be coming for you. As Supergirl lets him know. But overall, good episode in my opinion. Because it was about Carla having to juggle her life kind of as being Supergirl, but also as Carla Danvers, so she has to kind of balance that, Then another favorite episode of mine is called Live Wire. Episode starts off with an alien, who's being arrested by the DEO. He kind of is like a big, strong, tough alien who looks like a wrestler. Attacks the DEO. Supergirl shows up and fights them. He's able to kind of get Supergirl like in a bear hug or something. Able to go behind her and do this move on her. But Supergirl is able to use a flight and pounces him off. And he gives her a day off. And you also have this girl named Leslie Willis, who was a shock jock who kind of like Howard Stern in a way, but Leslie Willis, she hates Supergirl pretty much. Just talks shit about her on the radio pretty much. How much she doesn't like Supergirl, like, oh, look at me, I got the skirt, I'm cute, and how much she hates her, and until Cat Grant tells her to stop, I'm gonna, and pretty much fires her because Leslie's like, really? You fired me over it? And she's like, I'm not firing you, I'm just changing some. So basically they cover traffic. Alex is nervous because it's also Thanksgiving time. Helen Slater, the original Supergirl, who's also in the series, Carla's adopted mother, and Alex's mother, is coming over, and she's worried about her mother being mad at her. She fights went over for Thanksgiving dinner. Eliza and Alex start to have a fight. He's like, you let Carla. What are you thinking, Alex? Just for every you shouldn't let her share her identity. Carla's eventually able to tell her, adopted mother to Eliza, look, Eliza, that was my choice to go out Supergirl. It was my choice. She's pretty much telling her, I'm a grown woman now. It's my choice to do with my powers. I chose to be Supergirl. I chose to come out. So help me so tough and Alex. Eliza and Alex do have a hard time though, and it was a nice moment. And she does tell that she's part of the DEO. And Elisa tells her that her father, Jeremiah, Puppeting King, was also part of the DEO. And you see like a flashback maybe in this episode of, Carla, a young Carla and a young Alex, sneaking out of the house to go fly, because Carla can also fly, and they get caught. Then you have the DEO of Hank Henshaw coming out, and she tells them that it was Hank Henshaw, and then the girls suspect Hank Henshaw may have killed their father, or knows about his disappearance, so they don't trust Hank at all. But anyway, what Lisa was, when she gets moved to traffic, when she's in the helicopter, she refuses to move into this bad way. Supergirl tries to save her, and pretty much she gets struck. Supergirl struck by lightning, and it gets into Leslie, who, is in the hospital with the gray hair and kind of like gray face, and she becomes Livewire. She wakes up and finds out about her powers. She's kind of is able to get out of the hospital. Some guy tries to flirt with her. She's able to, electricity him. She's like, whoa, yeah. She starts to enjoy these powers and decides to get revenge and calls herself Livewire. She doesn't attack. She comes to get revenge. She's using her abilities, kind of like Electro, for instance, able to get into a thing like evaporate herself into electricity, or get anywhere. And Supergirl shows up. Before she kills Cat Grant, Supergirl was able to shield her, and she fights her a little bit. But apparently, because since Supergirl touched her, she has a bit of Supergirl strength, which means Livewire can kill her. So she's a bit of a hard fight for her. In today's episode, Cat Grant also is disappointing. Her mother becoming inspired who she is, which you can say is at least why she can be a bitch sometimes, but maybe she kind of regrets that when Cora talks about her, her Elisa and Alex's situation. Yeah. They're able to, to get Livewire out. Miss Grant, Cat Grant, she basically goes on the radio, and then she'll meet, and Livewire tries to kill her. Supergirl shows up, she's like whiplashing with her electricity. He's able to attack Supergirl when they pick her up, and almost tries to kill Supergirl using her powers. Supergirl's about ready to go down, and then, Livewire, Cat's like, Leslie, don't do this isn't you. And Supergirl was able to grab like a pipe in the ground and sprays water on Livewire, taking her out, and Livewire is pretty much sent to prison, or the DEO, I guess you can say, or probably a prison to keep protecting from anybody else using her powers or whatever. Ends up in jail. But at the end, Carla and Alex reveal to find out the truth about their father. To see what Hank is up to, they say, we're going to find out what he did. But overall, Livewire was a really good episode in my opinion. Then another favorite episode of mine is called Red Faced. Yeah. In the beginning, Supergirl was just flying around. They were just flying in the city, using a super hearing to hear any trouble. Then she hears that these two guys are having road rage, and they're about to run over these. They come past the school zone, and they're about to run over little kids. So Supergirl shows up, able to stop the two cars with her hands. She hurts the guy's back because one guy's bleeding, and he's like, "What'd you do that for? You don't hurt me, you bitch." And he tries to punch Supergirl, but Supergirl loses her temper. Just grabs the guy's arm and breaks it. And she's like, and then, Hank says, Supergirl, you can't lose your temper. people don't fear Superman because of his powers, but because of what he can do, because if he loses his temper. If Superman loses his temper, he can hurt somebody, and Supergirl, throughout this series, does get a little angry. Carla has to deal with some anger. General Sam Lane, who was the father of Lois Lane and Lucy, his sister Lucy. By the way, Lucy Lane is the sister of Lois Lane, just to let you guys know that. Her and her father come and they need to say that they have to test Supergirl. They want to test this robot that they call Red Tornado, and Supergirl is like, I'm in a mood for a fight, so she fights Red Tornado a little bit, uses her freeze breath on him, punches him out about, she gets him out like, Supergirl, that's enough, and then the machine flies against Red Tornado, flies away to go recover, and the guy in charge of it, I guess you could say Frankenstein, who created Frankenstein's monster, but anyway, that's something that that Alex says in the episode. But anyway, this guy gets fired by General Sam Lane. He fires the guy right away, and the guy gets revenge. The Red Tornado tries to come and attack, Lucy, and using his abilities, and him and Supergirl do fight, but Red Tornado's able to use one of his abilities for like a twister or whatever, to create a twister to fight, like create a tornado basically is what he can do. And Supergirl says to go save the people, which was the right thing for her to do. And I do, and the part of Cora, where Cat Grant is mad, says, Kira, I'm gonna call your name. And Cora's like, I'm tired of you being mean to me all the time. Why are you so mean? You want me to do this and that? Why are you so mean? Why? Miss Grant, I'm sorry. So the bunch of us like, Cora, let's go have a drink. Chop chop. And she's like, Cora, you cannot lose your temper. You need to join a gym or something. You cannot lose your temper. And Cora starts to understand that, and Jimmy is mad too over, trying to relationship with Lucy and what he's going through. Cora, using her powers, instead, can't join Jim, punches a car. They got like the car hanged upside down on a chain and she's punching it. It's like, I'm mad because of this. Why does everybody expect me to be Supergirl? Why this? And she punches it, and when she lets the anger out, it helps her out a little more. If you have anger, best way is to punch a punching bag usually, but for Supergirl, it's just a car to punch. Eventually, to find Red Tornado, which Alice goes to Maxwell Lord, and Maxwell Lord, by the way, is able to get DNA, which we'll play later on in the episodes, but is able to get some Supergirl's DNA. And the only way for them to stop Morrow, the guy in charge of Red Tornado, is to fight him, to stop him. Alex fights for Morrow, Cora fights Red Tornado, and in self-defense, Carla kills Morrow, and, Red Tornado, the machine goes crazy, and so, Carla uses her heat vision, and I like the scene where she's like, that scream, that passion, that burning passion she has, and she destroys Red Tornado for good. At the end of the episode, Carla, who apologizes to Cat over what happened, and Cora begins, drops glass and cuts herself. She's like, I'm bleeding again. And Cat's like, are you okay? She's like, because she doesn't bleed. Being Supergirl, she's invincible because of her powers from the Earth sun, yellow sun. She can't bleed. So, anyway, that brings me back to my next favorite episode. But again, real face, we all have anger inside of us sometimes. We all get angry. But I think the point of this episode was learning to deal with your anger and to control it. But anyway, Human for a Day, that's my next favorite episode, Human for a Day. Cara's powers get strained after fighting Red Tornado. she's told that her power will return in a few days, but eventually a bad earthquake happens, and Carla can't do nothing about it. She can't use her powers, and James is like, it's not your powers to make you like you because you have a good heart. That makes you who you are. And she's worried because she can't save people, and people have been injured and getting hurt. And Carla's just upset through the episode because she can't do nothing about it. She can't. She doesn't have her powers, and she's really upset over it. A girl's father, has a heart attack pretty much after the earthquake, or gets injured and dies, and Carla's just heartbroken, start crying over it. Even Master Laura's mad because he couldn't save the man, but he could just be wanting to save people for the attention or just to build the hate up on Supergirl. Carla does break her arm, by the way. Master Laura criticizes, Supergirl for not saving the day, for not being there. It's like, we don't need her around, basically, is what he's saying. Then there's this Robert who, she wants to stop, but, having her arm broke. And she's able to go to Robert in her costume as Supergirl and tries to talk the man down. Because part of being Supergirl is not her strength, but the symbol on her chest, which means hope, and able to talk to people and save people and, do the right thing, basically. That's what Supergirl stands for, I believe, and Superman as well, to do that. She's able to convince him, like, you don't want to do this. This isn't worth it. And the Robert, who could have shot her, listens to Supergirl. To me, that proves that, it's not her strength that makes her a hero. That makes Carla a hero. It's her good heart that makes her a hero. James and Carla have a little moment of talking, and even he tells her, how special she is, and showing that picture we had her telling her about his father giving his first candle. They have a moment, they give each other a hug. When walks in, you could say he's jealous, basically, says that he's in love with Carla. And even Jimmy tells him at the end, James tells him, you need to tell Carla how you feel, Back in the DEO, you also, and the other episode, you have a psychic alien who starts attacking some of them with, psychic mind, basically, is able to attack some DEO agents until, this is where Carla Alex doesn't trust him, so she disobeys Hank's orders, goes to find him. Eventually, they're able to take down the alien, and she even handcuffs Hank to a wall because she doesn't trust him. But eventually Supergirl, when her, James, and Winter are trying to save people from an elevator, she's able to get her powers back and saves James from falling to his death. And, Supergirl, she saves kids from falling on a bus, which kind of reminded me of Superman in the movie when Superman did that. But then, she's like smiling at the kids and starts saving the day. But he breaks out of his handcuffs, and then, when he breaks out of the handcuffs, Hank, she's like, Hank, how could you do that? No one person do this. Then he reveals to her that he's not Hank Henshaw, that he's an alien, and that he's a Martian, that he's from Mars. And he basically shows her appearance as from Mars. He shows his appearance as a Martian. Then a little green man, a big green man, saying, my name is John Jones. At the end, though, Supergirl was attacked by an Astra, and some other Kryptonians attack her as well. But overall, Human for a Day was good. Alright. Another favorite episode of mine is called Blood Bonds. Hank goes intervening when Nana attacks Cora. Cora, first starts. This was after another episode, Hostile Takeover, which I thought was okay. But anyway, when Nana and Cora are fighting, he tells her, that he's going to kill half the planet off, and she's going to be able to stop him. But when he intervenes, Nana kidnaps him because they have Astra in jail, and Cora and Astra talk. And she must tell Astra, your mother wasn't all that graceful. She sent me to prison. She did some questionable things. And Cora's like, no, I don't believe you. Cora gets upset over this. When, Astra reveals some of the truth to her. She shows up the hologram, but the hologram won't talk. Cora's like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? And upset. Uses the heat vision, gets mad, and starts crying. And you feel sorry for her here. At least I did. General Sam Lane becomes charged with the DEO. They're want to do training for Astra, and General Sam Lane uses kryptonite, a kryptonite serum or a kryptonite shot to detain Astra. Almost kills her. They sort of make the switch with Non, who lets Non, when they go back, Non doesn't go back to where he almost is getting ready to kill. He tells the Kryptonians until General Astra's like, no. Astra is starting to have a change of heart, after being captured, because they were planning this the whole time. Maybe he started to have a change of heart. It's like, don't let my compassion for a sign of weakness. We're still going to do our plan. On that episode, Cat Grant at the end, takes Cora her glasses off, and she tells Cora that she's being nice to Cora throughout the episode, which is unusual. Trying to get over that she's Supergirl to her, but she says, Miss Grant, I am not Supergirl. I'm just normal. I'm just like everybody else. I'm normal. Eventually, she does find out at the end that Hank, of course, is the Martian Manhunter, is Martian. And they tell her, and he's able to use his abilities. They come, Hank is able to, because he can. John is able to. Martian Manhunter, he can disguise himself as anyone with his abilities. He does Supergirl. Carla thanks him for it. And then you find out that episode Maxwell Lord has a test subject, a young blonde girl who died from brain trauma, basically planning to kind of make a Bizarro version of Supergirl, if you will. But overall, Blood Bonds was really good. Carla learning about her mother, and Miss Grant trying to figure out she's Supergirl. That was pretty interesting. Alright, another favorite episode of mine is called Childish Things. Well, this is where you find out that Wen, the character Wen, of course, is the son of Winslow Scott Sr. He is Jr., who is Toy Man. Yes, Toy Man, who, of course, has these toys, but they're built out of bombs. And basically, Toy Man, in the beginning, he escapes out of prison, he's got like this yo-yo that has like kind of looks like a Japanese little knife or whatever's got in it. He basically kills 2 guards and sends a little pet monkey toy saying, "Son, meet me at our favorite place." And Wynn's upset over this because he doesn't want to talk about it. Because he tells Carla, my father did some things. He killed 5 people. He sent his little box a bomb and blew up and killed many people. The man's a murderer. I don't trust. That's the day he stopped being my father. And when his father goes to talk to him, tells him that his father's like, "Wynn, me and you, we're both alike. You have that dark passion in you too. We're just like, we're connected." I was like, "No, we're not. You're crazy, Dad. You need help." And then you find out it's like a fake version because everybody's going to shoot Toyman down, but it's like a mirror image of him that is fake. He has the, Carla's there too. FBI tell her, "Stay out of our way. You're just going to get in the way. We don't worry about you too." But when they find out it's fake, Toyman has this poison gas going to Supergirl, like breathes it all in, and they will fly up in the air, breathe it all out. And, eventually Wynn starts showing his feelings to Cora, kisses Cora, but Cora's like, I was like, "Women are not like that." She's just not interested in Wynn as a way. She's just not attracted to him. She just considers Wynn a friend, and Wynn is just upset over this. You can say heartbroken. Meanwhile, Alex goes on a date with Maxwell, so John can use his abilities. They find out who this mysterious woman is, find out what he's up to. John does come across a security guard, because he's, like I said, he discusses himself as Maxwell Woodward, but when the security guard tries to question him, he knocks him out, and using he can also mind wipe people, which, make you forget memories. He makes this guy forget his own memories. And so, Maxwell will figure this out, saying that Alex set him up. So he kind of sets them up back, which I'll mention a little later. And the later that Wynn's dad tells him that, you're going to kill this man named Daunt, makes a speech. He gives him his toy gun, which is a real gun, to kill this man. And he's going to set these bombs off if he doesn't do it. Supergirl and Toyman have a bit of a fight. Supergirl tries to take out Toyman, but he traps her in quicksand. He's like, "I will use my heat vision, and I wouldn't move so much because you'll sink more in the quicksand." She's able to use her freeze breath and get out of there. And when, before one can shoot the man down, he doesn't, but Supergirl, but Toyman says to blow these 5 bombs up, it's like a Comic-Con, he says to blow the bombs up, Supergirl goes in for it, basically says over here that uses her heat vision, uses the water, and uses all her freeze breath, and is able to, save people, and uses her freeze vision to look down, and sees who Toyman is, and basically just stops him. Carla and Wynn apologize to each other, but Wynn's like, "We shouldn't talk for a while," so their friendship kind of ends for a while, and he just kind of ends up ignoring her afterwards. Maxwell plants a device on Alex's purse that she didn't know about, and she discovers that Alex and Supergirl are adopted sisters, so figure that he knows Supergirl's identity now as Carla Danvers. So, but overall, Childish Things was really good. It's cool to see that they brought Toyman in here. Another favorite episode of mine is called Strange Visitor from Another Planet. Yeah. In the beginning, Carla, there's a burning, she's just flying around in the wood area, and in the woods, there's a fire going on, and Carla saves it. These families they're like in a camper. Carla picks up the camper using her super strength was able to fly them away, fly them to safety. You find out that Miss Grant has another son named Adam, who she gave up for adoption for some reasons. I guess she wasn't ready to be a mother. Carla writes this note or whatever to basically, behind Cat Grant's back, which just pissed off Cat later on, but it might not be in this episode. Then you have a senator who pretty much, hates aliens until, Martian, there was a white Martian who you figure John had a past with that the white Martians killed his race, killed his family. John had of course, a wife and I think 2 daughters, and they were murdered, and his people were murdered. And it was a war that going on. And of course he wants revenge, wants to kill the white Martian and revenge. But you find out that the senator, is the white Martian. Well, the white Martian kidnaps her. And it was, a white Martian disguises himself too as anybody, so he does it, white Martian does it as a senator, disguises himself as a senator. And they find out, they fight with this white Martian. Eventually Supergirl's able to take the Martian down, and she tells John, we're gonna wipe you out, Martian Manhunter. But Adam shows up, who, first, Carla, not knowing who Adam is, actually meets him at or go get Miss Grant her coffee, runs into Adam because she doesn't know who he is yet, and he flirts with Carla, and him and Carla kind of have a relationship, they don't have a relationship first, but, before she can fire Cat can fire, Carla's like, well, maybe you need to reconnect with your son. You said some things in the letter, and then even when he tells Adam's like, well, my mother just used you like that. Carla's able to sit them down at dinner, get them talk together, and they kind of reconnect and build a relationship. The white Martian kidnaps Alex because they're hunting the white Martian down, and John Jones, fights with the Martian, and he stops Supergirl from trying to stop him, so he uses kryptonite handcuffs. I was like, you can't do this. This isn't you. This is not what your family wants you to be. And of course, he lets the Martian live. The white Martian just ends up in a prison cell. And since Adam also has a crush on Carla, and Carla, likes him back, has Carla out on a date. So. And, of course, as she'll go on a date with him tomorrow night. And later on, as her and Alex are eating pizza, you have Supergirl who saves these people, but it's not Supergirl. He finds a clone, and the episode ends there. Alright, then the third episode of mine is called Bizarro. This is a female version of Bizarro, who in the comics looks like Superman, wants to be Superman, but he's dangerous and he has powers as well. Well, she has powers as well. Starts saving people. And Max brainwashes the double game saying that Supergirl wants to kill. Supergirl is evil. She hurts people. And Supergirl responds like Supergirl evil. Supergirl hurt people. And Supergirl and Bizarro have a fight because Supergirl trying to save these. She tries to save these people. It's like one of them, I don't know, it's like a skyscraper or something, And, and when she looks at Supergirl, she's like, why, and then she tells Kat, she tells John and Alex about the version herself that she tells like Cookie Monster, which I thought was funny, because she says that, Willie Carl says that, and it's like, well, we gotta stop her because she doesn't know what she's doing. She's just, I guess, been mind tricked or whatever. Carl and Adam, go on their first date, but she has to go and be Supergirl. They go on a second date, eat ice cream, and Adam and Carla share their first kiss until Bizarro shows up and attacks her. She's using Bizarro, she has her heat breath or whatever, and Supergirl uses her freeze breath to fight her back. They fight for a bit, and thankfully Alex shows up with kryptonite bullets. They shoot Bizarro with it, and it just makes her face more Bizarro looking, and she just flies away. And, as Maxwell Lord, feeds her more lies about how Supergirl is evil. Eventually, Alex does arrest Maxwell. Basically, they send him to deal with Abel. Basically, so they force him, kidnap him, hold him against his will, and she's about ready to kill Maxwell Lord if they don't find out, how to take out this guy. Carla says she can't have a relationship with Adam because of being Supergirl, and she just sadly breaks up with him. But she does upset Cat Gran. Cat Gran, treats her a bit more harshly, as you can say. Bizarro kidnaps Jimmy Olsen, because, of course, she's in love with Jimmy, and she's like, Supergirl, I love you. Supergirl has a good heart. I just love her because of her strength, because of her good heart. And he tries to get his watch. He's tied up like this. He's going to try to use his leg to get the watch to call Supergirl. It works. Supergirl and Bizarro fight for a while. And so Bizarro, is choking for her, nearly killing her, almost, until they use blue kryptonite, which is Bizarro's weakness. That Alex shoots her with it, and she's like, Carla, I'm sorry. And as she's getting ready to die, she's like, it's okay, I forgive you. And she's mad at Maxwell. He tells her, like, what's wrong with what she did to Supergirl? And at first, Carla was so mad at Maxwell, she knew he was to kill him. And even when he tells her, she is like, we feel like the ones that are going to get hurt enough, Supergirl, like all as the dampers. And Supergirl is just pissed and tired of Maxwell Lord. She must get ready to use heat vision and almost was ready to kill him. But Alex is like, he's not worth it. We're going to find out what evidence is in, and we're going to send him to jail for good. Carla goes to her apartment just to relax and have a drink, wearing her Supergirl suit. And she's attacked by a black mercy parasite. Basically, she lives in like this little fantasy world that gives her, but I'll get to that episode later on. Anyway, that was Bizarro. Now, another favorite episode of mine is called Truth, Justice, and the American Way. After the last episode, Astra dies. She pretty much gets kryptonite knife, sword basically stabbed by Alex. Nun requests Carla to pay her final respects to her aunt, but then he tells Carla, after Carla does this little prayer after crying about it, he's like, alright, 2 weeks, I'll let a little more, but then after that, my plan will happen and we'll fight, and you will die. You will be joining her soon. And then him and the other group kind of fly away. you know, Cora does talk to, you know, Maxwell again. He's saying, you can't hold give me Supergirl here. You can't do that, Supergirl. It's definitely wrong. And she refuses. Kat also hires a new assistant named Simone, I'll just call her Simone, as her, basically as her number one. And she's able to help her a little bit more. And Cora does not like this girl right away, as she gives her mean and snarky looks, and basically has a desk next to her and can taunt Cora whenever she wants. And Cora just has a strong disliking for her. She even tells her that she likes her, but she's like, I'll do whatever it takes to get at the top, to have my own journalism business. And, you know, James reminds Cora, you know, you can't just have somebody against a girl. You have no proof that he's done anything wrong. You know, this is wrong, Cora. This is the thing about Supergirl. You know, you have such a good heart. You know how to do the right thing. And you know that what you're doing is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. You know, what I like about Jimmy Olsen, though, is that he's kind of the voice of reason for Supergirl here, you know. That's why I think I know they don't in the following seasons, but I think they should have been a relationship. Because, you know, for me, he's always been the voice of reason. I think he was always the right guy for Cora, but that's just me. But due to the writing on the show, which, yeah, but I get more into that when I get into other seasons of the show. But just to tell Cora that this is wrong for what she's doing. And then Cora also deals with Master Jailer, who is basically kidnapping, you know, aliens that her mother, Aurora Cat, put in the Phantom Zone. He's killing them. You know, Alex and Hank go to the FBI about this, or other cops about this, and they found out it's one of this guy who has a deep dark voice. Sounds like Clancy Brown, who voiced like Superman and Superman Anderson. Just the voice sounded like it, but probably wasn't. But he had a cool suit. Master Joe can probably go fight with Supergirl. He's got like these chains. He kind of uses these chains to fight Supergirl. Kind of like Whiplash from Iron Man 2. But he's able to change Supergirl. He's able to, you know, he traps in the chains like this. She's able to use a heat vision to get out of it. And he captures Supergirl, putting her in a prison cell under the red sun. And you meet this prisoner who doesn't want to kill her, you know, who's not angry, who said in a strange way that, you know, her mother, it changed him. He did some bad things, some drugs, but he's trying to change his life by being a professor, teaching kids about the stars. And, you know, Carla, what makes her also have a good heart is that, you know, when Master Joe is ready to execute this alien, you know, ready to murder this alien, Carla's like, no, don't kill him, kill me instead. Kill me, please. You know. Until eventually the DEO shows up on time. You know, Alex is able to shoot, you know, into the ceiling, bringing the sun out and giving Carla powers back, and she does take out Master Jailer. Yeah. You can see Lucy is jealous. Lucy also has a job at Catco. She does let her quit, but she, you know, even Cora tells her about the picture and everything, and she says how great she is, and, you know, then Lucy realizes that, even breaks up with Jimmy at the end, because they want to tell Lucy that she's Supergirl, that she can be an ally to them, but she also tells her, Jimmy, that, well, you're pretty much in love with Cora. You don't know yet, but you're in love with her. You know, you really just don't want to be in a relationship with her, so I'm breaking up with you. Eventually, Gwen is able to talk to Simone, and him and Simone eventually share a kiss. So So she kind of becomes his girlfriend there for a bit. What about Truth, Justice, American Way? Really good episode in my opinion. Okay. Another favorite episode of mine is called, okay guys, we have a couple more here, so bear with me. Another episode called Falling. You have Miss Grant on the talk. You have guests like Lucy Teller and Ozzy Osbourne's wife, making a cameo of Catco, talking about how great Supergirl is. And pretty much Carla gets tasked to find Lynn, but she sees that Simone and Lynn are probably making. Are probably doing this by basically in a close-a-high door, because she looks on with her X-ray vision. We don't see it, so he's doing some dirty stuff going on, but they don't show it on TV. But it's funny because she's like, I don't know. I'll use hand sanitizer when I go in there from now on. Carla says, but Carla has to go help these people on the fire. She gets infected by red kryptonite. Her face goes red, and you find out there's about a building at the bottom of this building is, not the bottom, is a satellite, and under the satellite is red kryptonite, which Carla gets near, and it affects her. And red kryptonite, unlike green kryptonite, it doesn't kill her. Just like in Smallville, it takes away her inhibitions, and it gives her a bad attitude. It lets some truth and, all the bad thoughts, all any anger she has inside, the red kryptonite lets that out. So she kind of becomes a bad girl, as you can say. She gets more confident, she starts dressing a little more differently, more sexier, kind of but more mean, basically. She gets Simone fired, basically. She plays this cool trick to write down this letter, and she tricks her, gets her fired. And Cora doesn't even want to do the deal. She's like, oh, I'm listening. And Cora, who is just tired of fighting, these aliens, is like, your mother, yes, I'm going to put my prison, blah, 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 you want to kill me, and blah, blah, blah. And for a second, though, she's fighting the first sticks, and now she has her leg on his throat, her foot on his throat. You think she kills her, like, just go. She lets him go. And I was like, well, it's about time you guys got here. She would just think, I'm tired of what you're talking about me, and I got another job where I'm completely useless, And Supergirl just starts to have this attitude, and even when, someone has footage, proof of Supergirl going bad, Cat Grant says there's either Bizarro in her or something's wrong with her, but Simone, Carla can hear it with a super hearing, uses this against her and gets Simone fired, and Simone can't get a job anywhere, and it basically just builds up a hate for Carla, wanting to get revenge on her for this. She does criticize Hank for hiding himself as a Martian, but Hank believes that, John Jones believes that, if the world knew he was a Martian, he couldn't leave the DEO, he'd be in prison, he'd be dissected like an alien, so yeah. Cat tells Supergirl, like, Supergirl, I created you, I can break you. And it's like, what are you going to do to stop me? Nothing. And with Cora and, with Supergirl and Cat talking, she tells she's just tired of her, that you're just a mean person, that she doesn't, I guess you can say trust her at least. And Supergirl just grabs Cat, throws her off the building, 40 stories high, just throws her. I was like, next time, I'll let you splat on the road, okay? And just learn your life. You know, you ever like wearing black now, kind of dressed up like Nona and Astra? You know, she gets in the car. You know, Alex comes to the car. Carla burns it because I'm tired of wearing these crappy clothes. You know, there's a whole world for me to worship out here. Now I'm going to take it over. And so she becomes mentally dangerous. She tells Alex, you're not my sister. You never were. You never will be. You know, you're always jealous of me, of what I can do. When I came out of Supergirl, you can't accept me. You know. And she starts attacking police, starts fighting with them, starts using her heat vision, and eventually John Jones has to reveal himself as the Martian Manhunter, and he stops Supergirl, but he gets arrested. They were to shoot this kryptonite in Supergirl, making her back to normal, but before I get any further, I forgot to mention, I seen a girl under the influence of her kryptonite. She's got like these peanuts or whatever, or walnuts, whatever you call them. She just pours them out and starts, you know, flicking them like and breaking glasses and breaking beer bottles. That was probably, you can say, that was actually cool because that was a reference to Superman 3. When Superman was under the influence of the red kryptonite as well, they made sure kryptonite that, you know, turned him bad when he, you know, grabbed the walnuts or the peanuts or whatever and started flicking them to the beer. You know, she just didn't use her heat vision to destroy the window or anything, but, you know, she was doing that. But Cora, after the effect, starts, you know, crying, like, did I kill anybody? It's like, you know, she starts breaking down, crying, why did I do this? You know, and do feel sorry for her. She didn't mean to do it, but she tells the cat Grand Toast she's sorry, and, you know, hopefully you'll forgive me. She can't forgive her, but she knows people are not going to forgive her. He's like, can I just sit down for a while, cat? You know, and she's like, okay, Supergirl, you can stay. You know, she does now Supergirl as a threat, but she says running about saying will be difficult, but she has gone Supergirl will be able to do so. Eventually, you know, Supergirl does eventually. But overall, falling was good, showing that, you know, even a hero can fall, because you have the beginning of the episode where this little girl is dressed up like Supergirl, and Supergirl comes to her defense. You know, she's able to use her X-ray vision, and sees the little girl's name, is like, well, where's my friend? And but when she becomes affected by the red kryptonite, the little girl is upset by this. The little girl throws away her little Supergirl outfit, you know. Because, you know, these girls are looked at now they're afraid of her because of what she's done. But overall, you know, it even shows that villains can fall too. I mean, heroes can fall too or make mistakes as well. So overall, good episode. Another favorite of mine is called Manhunter. Manhunter, where pretty much people in Action City, of course, don't really trust Supergirl. You see her trying to save and help these people stop the man over, but people run away from her because they're scared, and Carla just sitting down eating donuts, just upset over what's happened, you know. You know, like, I can't believe we lost the trust of all these people. You know, kind of a Simone, you know, meets up with Wynn, and Wynn tells her, you know, I'm sure, you know, she tells him how much she hates Supergirl, I mean Carla, and he's like, I can't get a job anywhere. Nobody would hire me to the planet. And you tell me her name? Simone Smith. Don't get hired. And how jealous is. She comes up with a plan to get around Carla by sneaking into the Catco's office and to write this letter down. To write this letter saying there's some nasty word from Cora, to get Cora fired, to get back, to get even, and possibly get her job back, and, you know, Cat grants favor. But meanwhile in this episode, which is, another thing I liked about this episode is that he reveals what happened, that we find out here that he tells Lucy and Jim Hopper, who was friends with the real Hank Henshaw, that when Jeremiah, who at first, because the DEO wanted to take Carla in to do tests on her, keep her as a prisoner, but in order to protect her, Jeremiah decided to work with Hank Henshaw. The first mission was to tell him to capture that, and this for Hank Henshaw, by the way, the guy is an asshole, pretty much, as you can say. Just not he's not a good man. He's a killer, a murderer, basically. And he decides to go kill John Jones. They're in the jungle looking for him. Jeremiah comes across a poisonous snake that's about to kill him. Until Martian Manhunter grabs the snake and is able to kill the snake, saving his life. He's able to protect him. They go have a fire at night, and he goes, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm a Martian. I'm the last survivor on my planet." Well, I know somebody who's the last survivor of their planet, Carla. He tells them about Alex and Carla, that, she's a stranger from the planet, a survivor as well. Until Hank Henshaw shows up ready to kill, ready to kill Martian Manhunter. He's able to use kind of like a weapon made out of fire, like a dart or something, to kill him. Nobody does until Jeremiah attacks him. Him and Hank start fighting until he pushes Hank Henshaw off a cliff, possibly killing him. Which, by the way, Hank Henshaw, I think, will become, in maybe season 2, I think will become Cyborg Superman. Yeah. But anyway, he stabs him, killing Jeremiah. Jeremiah's like, "Please look after my girls." And you find out the story about Alex too. That Alex was a party girl. That she did some bad things as well in the past. Getting in trouble, probably doing drugs, who knows what. And, this is when she first meets John Jones, as Hank Henshaw, telling her that, I could help you, because he promised to look after, Alex and her, gave her a purpose to serve at the DEO, give her 5 months of training. That's how you could say Alex became a DEO agent. And so they decided to take him to Project Katniss Labs to do some experiments on him, basically. And it's worse what they do to humans. Carla reveals her identity to Lucy. And Lucy is upset at because maybe thinking not being trusted, but you lie about who you are. People can't trust you if you lie. She says, well, sometimes you know her dear husband, alien. You see Carla and Alex, as young girls, being in school, Carla getting her ear hurts. Ears are hurting because of the, school bell, which affects her stupid hearing. They go hang out, and, Carla just kind of looking outside, looking at the birds on my planet, we didn't have birds. Don't say that out loud, Carla. Carla sees that there's a car accident. Carla runs to it, runs to the danger, using her powers, jumps on the car, is able to, grab the door, and, using her super strength, able to grab the door off the door off the car, saves this woman and saves her baby. He's like, here you go. And Alex get burns, and this is where Jeremiah gives her glasses to hide her identity, basically. Just to make her feel normal. His glasses have been, the lens are like lead, basically that won't hurt her eyesight. But it also protects her identity as Supergirl, as you can say. But before John and Alex were saved, Supergirl and Lucy, as bikers, they pretty much stop the truck. Supergirl takes out 2 guys, and they tell Supergirl, we gotta go on the run. Me and John are prisoners now, and we gotta go. But after Simon sneaks into the cat cove and sends that insulting email to Cat, pretending to be Carla, eventually, thanks to Wen, she's able to find out, and she's like, Simone, get out of my office for good. And next time you do that, you'll be telling the police if you try something like this again. And she's drunk. She's like, I hate you too, Supergirl. She's drunk. She falls. and suddenly she loses her balance, falls, and she has this sonic scream. She yells, which saves her life, and it plays in the next episode, which I will not be talking about. And another favorite of mine, just got two more, y'all, is called Myriad. Pretty much after the world's finest episode, which I'll be doing a review on. Anyway, when Cora and James decided to have their feelings out, Myriad starts taking over people, even all Cora's friends and stuff, and because Nunn, who was working with, well, Maxima tried to escape as well, but Cora takes her out. Maxima was the woman that tried to have Superman as her mate, because no man can handle her deadly kiss, unlike Superman. She flies to the forces to find Superman, but Carla explains it to her, that Carla was off Earth, and then she talks to Lord that they saw that Mirror is like a mind control set to set their way of thinking to control people out of fear and stuff. And Maxwell Lord is able to have like this sonic beam on his head or whatever, and he gives, he creates this technology that can block him and Cat's minds from it. They're, Supergirl, Cat, and Maxwell talk about what they're going to do. He suggests he'll have to plan it off, to save some people. At least 7 million people will die. Some, maybe thousands will die. But Supergirl's like, no, there's got to be another way. At first she agrees with it, but Cat Grant's able to talk to her, and he was like, there's got to be another way. He's like, maybe we could talk to people about hope. That's what the symbol of the chest means. She's like, you remind me of that. And, Hank, John, who was discussed as a little boy, and, Alex is wearing a blonde wig as they're hiding from the police because they're fugitives. They go to Lisa, tell her that they have to stay away from the city, that they're on the run, and Lisa asks all these questions, played by Helen Slater once again, the original Supergirl from the 1984 film, telling her that, you're both like your daughters, like both like daughter, both want to know about me. Shows her his true appearance. He's like, I'm not a little green man. But overall, it's just true, But before they can tell her that, they find out also that Jeremiah's alive, that he didn't die, that he's at Catman's lab, and they want to go save him. But Supergirl, everything on shows his control that he has with these people. He gets, James and Gwen to jump off the building of the force are going to kill themselves. She was with them, but this woman dies, and Carla's upset about it and telling her and John to stay away. And John has this, excuse me, Indug, the entity, I don't know, I'm going to call it Brainiac 8 or whatever, played by Laura Vanderbilt. I can't say her name right, but if y'all remember Supergirl from Smallville, season 7, yeah, she's in this season, kind of like a Brainiac computer, to help Nunn with his mission. They Ingrid, I'm going to call it Ingrid or whatever, Laura Vanderbilt, she fights with John Jones, and then he kills him, and kidnaps Alex, and before Supergirl can do his speech or get ready to do his speech, she fights with Alex, who is being controlled by Nunn, and who has like a kryptonite suit, knife, and they're about to fight at the end. It's pretty cool. But overall, Mirror, really good episode. And then the last episode I'm going to talk about, Better Angels. Another favorite of mine, Better Angels. When Alice is fighting Cora, she does stab Cora a little bit, and Cora has to start fighting because of the kryptonite. She's about ready to kill Supergirl until, John Jones is able to bring Elisa, able to kind of protect his mind and Elisa's mind as fast as he can, using his mind to help, protect him and Elisa from being controlled by None, because None is controlling people, even controlling Superman himself. But she's able to convince that, Alex, this isn't you. It's not the kind of person you are. We're a family. We're stronger together. And this convinces Alex to go and be about yourself. James went and apologized to Cora's like, you were under this control. Lucy does kind of take over the DEO for a while in John's absence. They, at first, in the last episode, married episode, they tried to shoot Supergirl with kryptonite bullets. And it's designed to kill everyone. So Supergirl, comes up with this good speech, which I'm not going to try to do, but most everybody knows this is what I love about her, Supergirl, of how good heart she has and what of a great hero that she is able to talk people into it, and when James and Jimmy they remember Cora and their minds go back to normal of who they were, and everybody else in the world go back to normal too, thanks to Supergirl, and people are proud of her what she's done, until eventually None and Ingrid decide to kill everyone on the Earth, to blow the Earth up, just destroy her, and so it's basically a final fight. And Cora decides that she's going to take these two down. She might die in the process. She might be fighting these two on her own. She could die. She tells Wynn, hey, I'm the best friend, and I always love you as my good friend, and I always appreciate you. She tells Kate Graham that she looks up to her as a role model, and that it was a pleasure working for her. And then she tells James, go find another woman, be happy. Me and you were just never meant to be. And then, she tells John, thank you for being kind of like a father figure to me. Telling him how much she loves him too, appreciates him, gives John a kiss on the head. Kind of like a daughter giving her father a kiss on the head, basically. That's what the moment between them was. Until, even if the government don't agree with it, they're going to send me out to kill every human on the Earth with environments. The brains are going to the brains are going to be exploding. Supergirl and Martian Manhunter have a final fight with Ingrid and None. Supergirl fights with None for a bit. They're using each other, and she's like, he pushes her, Supergirl fights back, and eventually she kills None. And John Jones, who almost Martian Manhunter, almost gets killed by Ingrid, is able to kind of pick her up and, break her apart, because she's a machine, basically, killing her. And Carla says that she's going to get the ship out here, it's going to kill everyone on Earth. She tells Alex later, she tells us, no, Alex, I love you, you always will be my sister, but I gotta go. You will be happy, you find someone to love, just go. And, I like this moment, the great music here where Cora just is lifting up the ship to space, just lifting it up, just lifting it up in the music and stuff, and then finally passing out or losing her strength, almost about ready to die, until Alex, using Cora's ship that she using the ship to get to Earth, gets in the Cora ship and saves Cora. And Cora thanks her for it. And just ends up being a happy ending. Alex, Eliza, Cora, John and Jimmy, John, James and Wendell have dinner together. And James told Carla, that he doesn't want to pursue a relationship with her. Shows her this picture of Carla, how much he likes her. They share a kiss, and you see like this vision going off, like a spaceship or something coming up, and Supergirl and John fly to it, and John's like, Supergirl, be careful, and she was just like, and then the season ends there, and that's pretty much the end of Supergirl season 1. Alright. I know we're on 1 now. Okay. I'm almost finished here, guys. Now I'm going to get to my episodes, guys. It's only 3 episodes. First is Hostile Takeover. Carla is taken down by Astra after Carla refuses to join them. They also have a little operation. Wen and James are kind of like cause jealousy between them, basically, because they both like Carla. None even questions us, or why didn't you kill Carla? Well, she's family. Doesn't matter. Like her mother, she's a threat as well. Again, like I said, Alex is training Supergirl to fight without powers. Supergirl does better this time, but now we're losing it, because of her emotions. You do a flashback Krypton where Carla and the 12-year-old Carla and Astra are talking, and Astra gets arrested. Pretty much her mother arrests her and says that, I love you, Astra, but you killed people. What you're doing is wrong. So because of that, she's sent to prison, sent to the Phantom Zone that was created by Alora. Kara's reputation also gets almost damaged here. They're able to find out that a guy named Derek Armstrong has been blackmailing her. And this is where Carla figures, that she might be Supergirl. But anyway, Cat Grant, her company's being threatened, and she could be taken down. And of course, they help her out, and able to find out what Armstrong was up to and get him arrested. But overall, I just thought the episode was okay. And there were moments between Carla and, Alex. I thought they fight in this episode, I believe. But, Astra lets Carla beat her. But overall, I just thought it was an alright episode. Then another episode is for the girl who has everything. This is where that creature, that blood-musty creature that is stuck across her chest, she dreams of being on Krypton, of, seeing Kelex, the robot, and seeing her mother, and is happy. She even has, like a 13-year-old Carla there, Carla be her age, probably like in her 20s, and Carla will probably be like 12 or 13. You were a little boy, and, Carla at first refuses, like, no, this isn't real. This is not real. Until, Alex decides that they're going to have to go on. They can't pull the Black Mercy off of her because the alien will kill her if they do. Will kill her if they try to force it to take it off with her chest. So, Alex goes in. She shouts out to her. Carla knocks her out. They're going to send her to the Phantom. So it's like, Carla, we will die if we shot her. Yells at me. You're like, you're Carla Danvers. You're my sister. I know this is part of your past, but you gotta let it go. You gotta move on. And Krypton was destroyed. And somewhat, Carla's able to come to her senses and realize that she is her sister and that she's right. They have a fight with Astra, and even though they sent that to Astra, is fighting with Nanobit, and Astra is fighting with John Jones, and she's about to kill Jones, like doing her arm for death, until Alex goes up behind her and stabs her with a kryptonite sword. She had no choice. She had to do what she had to do. And then Haig's like, I killed her, which wasn't true. Well, I just thought the episode was alright. I mean, yeah, you see the episode where Carla does have everything, but has to realize that I already have my family here. That Krypton blew up, and she just had to move on from that, basically. Alright, and then the next episode is Solitude. My next okay episode, Solitude. You have 3 doses of Brainiac. Pretty much, this is played by Laura Indigo, played by Laura Vanderbilt, like I said, Supergirl in the who played Carla in Smallville season 7. Someone who starts on a press cat eventually by not opening a package, by not wanting to speak to her. Kind of gets on Cat's nerves a bit. Indu tells Non, who decides to try to take over the world, causes almost a car accident. Supergirl has to save these people, this family in a car who's about to get hit by a truck. Has to use her super strength to get them out of there. She does. And she takes on this Indu Brainiac. And this Indu Brainiac, before she can get a missile off to destroy half the planet, kill a lot of people, Carla has to go save. Supergirl goes and chases the rocket down. Kind of like reminded me of Superman the movie, but anyway. She's eventually able to get it. Nice flying scene, by the way, very good, well shot during the daytime scene, real good. And but this Brainiac of Indu said that she put her there, and that that Non and Astra ship went with him as well. But she's basically on Earth because she's able to get rid of, gets rid of Indu for now. She just kind of passes her out, knocks her out. As Carla beats her in a fight, and Non brings her back together because he wants her part of his mission to bring out Myriad. But overall, I just thought the episode was alright. It was cool to see Laura Vanderbilt in this episode. But at the end, though, Carla and Alex have a hug because throughout this episode, Carla's being mean to Hank. Well, she's mad at him because she thinks that he goes like, you don't ever get talked about my family again. So pretty much in anger, you just tell Hank to kind of like piss off a couple times until Carla, to Alex says, I did it. I killed Astra. I had to do what I had to do. It was me. Hank was just trying to defend. And she tells, I'm sorry. And Carla's about to walk away, and Alex just starts breaking down crying. And I thought this was a sad moment as well, but Carla just, gives Alex a hug and tells her it's okay. And Alex is just breaking down crying in tears. She just had to do what she had to do, and Carla does her best to understand. Hank is about to walk away until Carla, just grabs him, tells him to stop, and, grabs her hand. It was just a sad moment. I did think that episode was okay, but that was my favorite part of the episode when Alex tells the truth that she had to kill Astra because that's what a soldier does. Sometimes they have to kill or be killed, and she really felt bad for killing her, but Carla, forgives her, I thought it was a touching moment, and my favorite moment in the episode, and it was very touching and heartbreaking too. But overall, it was just an okay episode. Alright, guys. Alright, well, I know it's going to be a while to upload this video, but anyway, let me go ahead and finish it off. Since it's like almost 10:40 at night. But I will be reviewing World's Finest episode that is crossed over with the Flash. I will be reviewing that one day down the road. But anyway, guys, Supergirl Season 1, great show, great, really good story of how Supergirl becomes a hero, you know, telling Carla's story of being a Krypton, being on Earth, you know, to protect Clark, protect Superman, Kal-El, but, you know, a new mission to become Supergirl. And I like her finding her true hero self, you know, not wanting to be heroes, but revealing her powers and becoming Supergirl. Really good. It's really good. I'll give you episodes. I enjoyed a lot of episodes in the series. Just 3 I thought were okay. But overall, I would say any problems were the villains I thought were weak. I didn't think they were terrible, but they were just weak and forgettable in my opinion. You know, I think season 2 and 3, even 4, had better villains than the first season. That would be my main issue, though, the villains in the season that were weak. I just thought they were forgettable and honestly not that interesting. Well, it was good to see her, but honestly, I think she was just in the episode. She did a good job, but, you know, I just thought her character wasn't very memorable, but just the villains were weak. But overall, the performances, the cast was really good. You know, I like the storylines. You know, great cast. You know, especially Melissa Benoist as Supergirl. She's great. She's wonderful. Probably my favorite Supergirl. Yeah, I love her, but I think I like her slightly better. But overall, I like both of them. They're great. I can't wait to see the new Supergirl in the Flash movie. I forget the actor's name, but I like Cat Grant. Probably one of my favorite characters in the show, and John Jones and Wynn and James, you know, Jimmy Olsen, all good cast. See, you gotta have a good cast and good writing. Yes, not the best writing in the world, but yeah, I would say it's really good writing, really good show. The effects, I would say some of the CGI doesn't hold up, but it's a TV show. It doesn't have that big of a budget as a movie does, so I can let it slide for that. But overall, a great start to a good show. I would say this is a great start. So Supergirl Season 1, my rating for the season is 4 to 5 stars. And guys, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. What are your favorite episodes of Supergirl Season 1? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, probably not this week or next weekend, maybe. I don't know. Next will be my thoughts on favorite episodes of Supergirl Season 2. So, yeah. Season 2 will be next. So look forward to my thoughts on Supergirl Season 2. So stay tuned for that. I don't know when I'll do it. Like I said, with work and stuff sometimes. But Supergirl Season 1, definitely my favorite season of Supergirl so far. So, love this season. Really good in my opinion. 4 to 5 stars. And thumbs up for Supergirl Season 1. Let me know what you thought about it, guys, down below. Comments down below. Anyways, have a good night. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And gotta fly. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.